what I was doing was there were like telephone poles. So I was running two, three poles and walking one. I was using that strategy. It's like, you have to throw that away. You run, it'll hurt. Run, it'll hurt more. And it'll keep running, it'll hurt, and it'll get used to it. Good point, man. Yeah, it's life, right? Like people are like painful to you, and then you just deal with them. You can't escape from those people, and then like you deal pain, and then you get used to the pain. You can't run away from some people. Yeah. So it's like, oh, it makes sense. It's like it reminds me of a lot of things. So I started running, and last half marathon, I think I have a negative split.
I am Venki, a working professional in IT as well as an amateur masters athlete and a coach for endurance sports. You are listening to the Working Athlete podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, I have a small request from you. Please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can also let me know what you like and what you would like to listen to more of by commenting in the comment section on YouTube. I promise to do my best to improve with each episode and bring you the best content that helps you and me get better each day. Manmadh Rebba is an architect by profession and a triathlete, a yogi, and an ultra runner by passion. In this episode, we talk about his journey into the endurance and ultra endurance worlds, including competing 3 times in the Ultraman World Championships, taking part and finishing crazy ultra running events like the BadWater 135, MOAB 240, among others. Manmadh is a fellow Hyderabadi who settled in the USA for nearly 20 years. We got a chance to meet and record this podcast when he was in Bangalore for a couple of days over his Diwali break. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. This episode is brought to you by The Bike Affair. If you are in search of a one-stop destination that caters to all your cycling needs, our today's sponsor, The Bike Affair, is the perfect place to check out. I have known the founders of The Bike Affair, Krish and Gokul, personally for nearly 15 years now. In fact, my first century ride was with Krish back in 2008. They are both exceptional human beings and entrepreneurs that believe in providing exceptional service to their customers. And it shows. With over 14 years of experience, the Bike Affair has established itself as a trusted source offering honest advice and exceptional service. They are offering a special treat for the listeners of this podcast. You can enjoy a 10% discount on your first order by using the code BikeyVenki on their website. So if you are in Hyderabad, visit their store in Kondapur, or if you are anywhere else in India, shop online by using the link thebikeaffair.com. I will leave the link in the show notes. Now, enjoy the podcast. Welcome to the Working Athlete podcast, Manmadh. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Venki. Thanks for having me on your show. It's definitely a pleasure and an honor to be on this.
Great. So, Manmadh, the first time I heard about you, I got to know about you was from our good friend Srini. Srinivas Gokulnath. When I was chatting with him after his RAM this year, he told me about how you helped him, one of the guys who helped him along the way. Yeah. So that's when I kind of got curious about who is this, and then I got to see that you have done so much in the ultra space. So I kind of pinged you on Messenger, and that's how we connected. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know more about you and your journey in the ultra. And good to see that. I mean, good to also note that you are a fellow Andhra, right?
Telugu speaking guy.
Telugu speaking guy. So good to see. And so, Manmadh, let us start by talking about what's your relationship with sport growing up, if any.
Growing up, I was not an athlete at all. I don't think I played like a small school games, but I was not in the front end. I was just like one of those. I think I played like Coco kind of thing, or like I used to just recreationally play soccer and volleyball, but not like compete in any inter-school competitions. So, and I mean, we come from a background, like a middle class background, where like our primary agenda or focus growing up is to get a college degree and get a job and like be financially or like some kind of position, so that like you're secure. So that was the approach. Athletics was never. So no, I was it didn't start until recently.
Right. So when was this recently?
Recently, as of yesterday. No, actually, I can say it's November 10th in US still as we speak. So it's exactly 10 years.
Wow.
I started on now. My first triathlon was on November 10th, 2013.
Right.
So I did a 5K in May. Like that was my first 5K, and some of my colleagues were doing a triathlon. Like they were registering in August. So I was like, hey, they started bragging about it. I was like, I was curious. And I said like I want to do it, and I didn't know how to swim at that time. So one of my colleagues said, "Yeah, it's not bad. Like it'll be nice. Why don't you jump in? I'll give you some classes." He gave me a little 1 week of like a basics of swimming, and then gave me a website, total immersion, and I started watching videos and learned swimming in 2.5 months, and did my first triathlon on November 10th.
Nice. So, how did you get into that 5K mode?
5K mode also, it's like I was 210 pounds back then, and I was like, I had a whatever, like I was not taking care of my body, but I didn't know how to take care of my body. The only thing is you listen to somebody and say like, hey, we're going and eating at this restaurant. That's pretty cool. It's healthy, and like the definition of healthy is we don't know. So you just like go and it's like it's clean. It's like clean in the sense like it's presented well, but not like what it does to your body. So I had that like a societal like route to go and like take care of my body, but and also I had sacroiliac arthritis. I fell in 2011 and I developed that. So my like one of my doctors said like don't run or do anything, just it'll aggravate the pain. So the weight also was like adding up to the pain. So and 5K, my colleagues, I mean like my company was sponsoring a Miami 5K run. So everybody went there and like I started running with them. Like it took me about 47 minutes or so to do 5K, and it was the hardest one.
So 2000, I mean, 210 pounds is like over 100.
No, it is about 90 some kgs,
Right.
95, I would say.
Okay.
95
And
kgs.
what is this arthritis you mentioned?
So I just fell on my left butt, and it's a sacroiliac, like, it just kind of had a
Impact on the joint.
and then like there was like some kind of inflammation, and it's there like it became a degenerative thing.
Right.
So and then I started doing some stretches to and like some kind of strengthening so that load doesn't go to that joint.
Right.
And there's an inflammation there. I told me to go with the steroids, where like it'll take care of the inflammation for certain period, and then again it'll come back and you'll have other side effects. So I never took those. So I was like, okay, what is the alternative way? And then endurance was the alternative
Right.
thing.
So you were working at that time, I guess. So what was work for you at that time?
At that time, I was working in Miami at Port of Miami Tunnel Project. It's an under ocean tunnel, and I was like connecting. I mean, Miami port with another freeway so that like all the port traffic goes through the tunnel under the ocean instead of downtown. So I was a superintendent. My background is architecture. I did undergrad in architecture and master's in construction management. So this was a unique experience where you get to do projects which are not like,
Nice.
regular mainstream. So I went and like I joined that. And that was work. So I was working like 50, 60 hours because I was a superintendent. That means
Right.
it's not like office work. I was managing contractors, crews, and then I have projects going on two islands. So uh, it was stressful, but this triathlon was like kind of gave me a way to become, relieve my stress.
Right, right. So once you got into this triathlon, say, you've done that 5K, and then you heard about this triathlon and said, "I want to do this." And how did that? What was the first triathlon? What was the distance? Was it
It's
sprint or
it's an
Olympic?
Olympic distance. It's called Miami Man. So you swim 1,000 meters, and then I think bike 25 miles. It's about 40 kilometers, and then run 10 kilometers. So it's an Olympic distance. Yeah, it's considered Olympic. So that was that. And I actually like that. One of the reasons I got into triathlon was to uh, overcome the fear of drowning.
No,
So
okay.
I drowned when I was like 22 and in a pool of 8 feet deep pool. So
Ah,
so it's like there is that fear of water. And this one of my colleagues is a British guy, I mean English guy. He said the worst, I mean, see, go for it. Worst thing is at least you'll know a little bit of swimming.
yeah,
You got a point, man. I'll give it a try. And then, like, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So
So after that Olympic try, what was the journey like? What from that Olympic try to say the Ultraman,
yeah,
that is like insane distances of that, swimming, cycling, and
yeah.
running. So what was the journey like from the Olympic to the Ultraman?
Yeah, it was, once you do a triathlon, then you're a triathlete. I mean,
Right.
I was bragging about it for almost a year. And again, I went back into my routine, started eating. So again, I started gaining weight in 2014. And in 15, I was like, I signed up for a sprint triathlon. I thought like I could do it. When I did it, it just kicked me
Hmm.
and realized that like, I'm going again down south.
Right.
So I was like, okay. And then like I started like, I signed up for another little triathlon and I saw this race called Escape from Alcatraz. I was very curious, like, man, this is like, you know, to overcome my fear, the biggest fear or whatever I'm going through. And Alcatraz, have you heard about Alcatraz? Like it's a prison in San Francisco. It's in an island, and that triathlon is like you swim from that prison to the shore for San Francisco, and then like you bike and run, and then the whole thing is, somebody broke the prison and then they escaped it. And generally, it's so cold. It's like 50-degree Fahrenheit. And that's about like say 10 degrees or so centigrade temperature, and it's freezing cold. And people generally die if they like start swimming like
Right.
1.5 mile. So uh, like we are allowed to wear wetsuit for that, but it was so cold. So I was like very curious, and I wanted to do that, but it's by lottery, and the only way you can like get lucky in that is if you go and volunteer, you'll get into a different pool, and it'll kind of like you have a higher chance of getting into
A shorter pool, maybe.
yeah, so I volunteered and I saw that in 15, and I signed up for half Ironman in 15. It was Ironman 70.3 Austin. It's not there anymore. I think they discontinued that race. So I did that, and that gave me another boost. Like, oh man, like I can do a half Ironman. I mean, I was like, yeah, it's like halfway through being an Ironman.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you can. I used to say, it's like, I'm an Ironman. So
Yeah.
it's like, and then my friend was like, okay, maybe it's time to aim high. So 16 was the year, like when I started, like, I scheduled like bunch of races. Like even I got into Escape from Alcatraz. I did like another half Ironman, and I signed up for a full Ironman Maryland. And it was like a incremental. And I was like, when I did Ironman Maryland, like the very next day, I was like, man, I still have some energy left.
Right.
And then it was in October of 2016. And then I was like looking through, obviously, I think your feed or whatever, like your social media or like your browsing history, when you start looking at triathlons, all the traffic of something related
The
triathlon,
algorithms will
yeah,
catch up.
catch up. So I came across Ultraman. I was like, what is this? I was like, this is insane. People die like doing Ironman. Who goes for Ultraman? And I was like, okay. I was like, that you have this post race blues or like, then
Right.
I was like, can I get in? I was like, it's only 50 athletes limit, and it's by invitation and qualification. So I was like, will I qualify? It's like the registration has ended. And I saw a bunch of Indians are also doing, and it's like they got into it. And I reached out to the race director. It's like, hey, you close, like, what's the deal with this one? I'm kind of interested, and this is what I've done. And I showed like my escape from Alcatraz, and said like, yeah, I think you can get in because like one of the athlete had some injury and he
Right.
dropped out. So that opened up for me. So I got into Ultraman Florida. That was in February of 2017, and I realized that I can go long. And
Right, right.
yeah.
So let us take a step back and talk about the weight loss journey during this period, right? So you said you were, say, close to 195 or
95
something,
yeah.
right? So how was the weight loss progress during this journey?
Yeah, the thing is like when you start eating clean,
Mm.
because like if you start the reason why you gain weight is unhealthy eating habits, unhealthy lifestyle, and it's like dormant lifestyle also. So when that started shifting, when I started training, I spent more calories and I was eating clean. So there's no accumulation of some fat. And another thing in 15, what I did was I stopped eating chicken.
Okay.
And that itself helped me drop 15 pounds in 3 months.
Why do you think so?
Because wherever you go, it's like you're eating chicken. You don't know whether it's like organic or like it's you don't know. It's full of hormones.
Hmm.
Most of the chicken, like they come out in 6 weeks, whereas the real chicken it
Will
takes
take
months,
much
much
longer.
longer. So it's like it's basically indirectly you're taking all those toxins into your body, and like it your body takes additional time to process that, and then it's I don't know if you get into those details, it just like you're basically accumulating junk in your body. And
Right.
the moment I removed that, my body kind of started breathing better, and then like I got rid of all the unnecessary things.
Hmm.
And I started getting clean protein, like seafood. So that really helped.
Right. So and you started feeling better and stronger as you went along, and you discovered going from half Ironman to Ironman to even feeling fresher even after an Ironman, and eventually to Ultraman.
Yeah.
So what was the experience of your first Ultraman distance?
Oh man, like that's the most epic experience because a lot of, I mean, I had like a three crew members. none of them have done any Ultraman or like have ever crewed. Everybody is new to that distance, and I was also new to that distance. But I found like a uh, like somebody has posted a training plan, somebody who did like Ultraman. So, and then I started like gathering all the information and then like created my own training plan. And also, I got into an accident. My car got into an accident. So it's just like a bumper got, beaten. So insurance company gave me about like say $5,000,
Right.
and that's what I used to buy my triathlon bike. So it's just like in January, I bought the triathlon bike and then raced in February. So it's like the kind of things like fell in place. And I got my first triathlon bike and got the fitting done and started like going long distance. And I've never done a marathon by itself. So I did only one marathon in my life by itself.
Right.
But I did like a marathon in Ironman.
Marathon in Ironman.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so one day I was like riding my bike, like doing my 100 miler. Saturday and Sunday I had to do another 30-mile run. So I saw Carlsbad marathon the very next day. I was like, okay, let me do it. And I finished the marathon and went for another 6-mile run.
Right.
So that's it's like incorporating your training and like some of the races in it. So that's how like I approached to Ultraman, and just a few days before Ultraman, I fell sick, and I was going through. When I reached Florida, and I was actually sick, and I was throwing up. I rested like 2 days before the race. I started feeling better, and my crew came in, and we were moving. And the day before the race, my Airbnb where we were staying, like we went to get the race briefing. By the time we came back, somebody broke into our condo.
Wow.
So they took bunch of stuff. Luckily, my bike was in the car, so
Right.
nobody took it, and nobody took my wetsuit. So it's kind of got lucky, and all night like we wasted. I didn't sleep. I slept for 2 hours. We had to move to a hotel, and next day I started. And when I started, like whatever I arranged was all like thrown into the car. Nothing has been arranged. So what I did was I just went to the swim start with my wetsuit, told my crew, watch everyone,
Right.
arrange things for me.
Yeah.
You have like 5 hours,
Yeah.
4 5 hours. And I went for the swim, came back in 5 or 15 minutes. Swimming was still my week, and I still try to improve. There's a lot more to improve. As I finished the swim, and that was the biggest hurdle. Man, I never swam 10 kilometers before. First time in my life, I swam 10 kilometers. Actually, I swam 11 and a half kilometers because I was going zigzag.
Right.
So it took like more than 5 hours, and finished. And then a bike was like, and like I think I bike like about 5 hours for 90 miles or so. It was decent. And we have like another Airbnb, and then we went to the next day. It's 171 miles. Felt stronger.
Right.
And then third day it was 52-mile run, 84-kilometer run. The only goal I had was, okay, run first marathon in such a way that you have enough time to walk the second marathon.
Right.
So that was my strategy.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I reached around 4.5 hours. I did my first marathon, still was feeling good as I continued running.
Right.
So I think that kind of, I mean, I had like an amazing crew. I had Marcos, Wamsi, and Jared, three of them, like they came. It's like, it's a team effort. It's not just you. It's
Yeah.
like I volunteered my body, but like they were like figuring out little things and then actually sorting out our mess and then providing me with nutrition because we didn't know. It's like it was all ransacked.
Right.
So yeah, that was the most like amazing experience where like we were thrown into challenges, just not the distance and then enduring the distance.
Right.
It's enduring the life challenge of somebody stealing stuff from you, and then you still have to show up and then, like, handle. And then though, so that was a beautiful experience. And then that gave me so much confidence. It's like, okay, this is how you handle when you are surrounded with like a good people, dedicated people. You can accomplish anything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the ultra distance, the races themselves throw enough challenges as it is, right? Over a distance of 10 kilometers swim and,
It's
300 odd mile.
It's a 261 miles, which equates to about 422 kilometers for Florida.
Right, and another 84-kilometer run. So that itself, throws enough challenges for you to deal with. On top of it, people, at the receiving end of a robbery and all that, So it takes a little, a mindset that is beyond ordinary to kind of, take stock, see, and regain your composure and face these challenges, right? So what was you have done your Ultraman? This was in 2017.
17 February.
February
That was
17.
first Ultraman.
Right. So after that, what were you looking at in terms of more and more challenges?
So it's like after I did that, and it was in February, I was like, always wanted to Ironman 70.3 Oceanside, because that's a beautiful race, like, which is in my backyard. It's like 40 miles from where I live. And it goes through a military area. You can only bike through that only during that race. So I was like, man, I wanted to do that. So when you're biking in that, the cantonment area, we call it. No, it's like army area. There are signs, okay, bunker crossing. So it's like, it's like, or tanks crossing. So you have literally this thing. So there are like, tanks going. So it's pretty beautiful view. And first time I actually noticed that you get disqualified by biking fast.
Wow.
At Oceanside. So there is
How is that?
one section you're not supposed to go more than 25 miles per hour, because it's in that military area and they have a strict speed limit. You're not at the moment. If you go more than, and it's a downhill. So it's like, it's one of my friends, he got qualified. Like, I think he kind of podiumed in age group. But and then he was supposed to get into World Championships 70.3, but he got disqualified because he was riding fast. So it's a pretty interesting course where you get disqualified by going fast.
Nice. Yeah. So how did the whole thing go?
Yeah, it went. So it's like 4 weeks after my Ultraman.
Yeah.
So I went for it, and I wasn't strong. I was still recovering. So it took me about like close to 6 hours, and it was not bad. It's decent timing. I could have done much better,
Right.
but I didn't have that experience to do back to back, but it was the first time. So, I still have that. If I had trained differently, maybe I would have been faster. And when I did that, and that's when few days after that, I got into Ultraman World Championships. Yeah, I got accepted into it. So, and that was something like, I was like, all right, I'm going there.
Yeah.
Because I was none of the
It happens in Hawaii, right?
Hawaii, it's in Big Island.
Hmm.
So I was like, damn, like this is not so far. No Indian has done this. And they were like, when I did Florida, I was the second Indian male to finish Ultraman distance.
Right.
There were like two other people, like us, I think Anu and this another guy.
Anu Vaidyanathan?
But
Yeah.
and then I can brag as that like I'm the second Indian male to do an Ultraman distance, because on third day I finished the run first.
Right.
There were four other Indians.
Yeah.
But like I was the first one to cross the finish line, so I became the second Indian male to finish an Ultraman distance. So that was pretty
Pretty cool,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So And I got into that. I was like, man, nobody has done and nobody got qualified. And I'm the first one. So I got really excited. So then again, I went into the strategy of like, how do I, train for it? And had an Ironman Lake Placid coming up. And that's where like uh, I knew what's Subbu.
Ah,
But like, that's where I met him. We all stayed at the same like Airbnb, and we all raced together. And there's another friend of mine. We both actually started doing Ironman together. So three of us, like, so
Subramani Venkatesh,
yeah,
better known as Subbu for all of us.
yeah.
Amazing dude,
He's
amazing.
an awesome guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like he's quite inspiring too. It's like at that time, like, I was just still like a beginner, and this guy, 17, I think he went into Ironman World Championships, and a month later, I did Ultraman World Championships.
Right.
So we were just like talking, and I was like exchanging, and I picked on his brain because he's the only Indian who has experience on Big Island. Like he did Ironman, but still, at least he knows a little bit of section. So it was good getting some feedback from him.
Yeah, he was the at that point of time he's the only sub 10
Oh yeah,
Ironman guy from India at
yes.
least. Yeah, and so how was the experience on the Big Island?
Oh, it's the most beautiful experience because it's so unique. On this planet, you have about 13 climate zones. Just on that big island, you'll see 11 climate zones.
Oh, wow.
You'll see snow like 2 hours down, like it's hot, like
Hmm.
100% humidity. And out of those 11 climate zones, during the race, you have to go through 6 climate zones.
Oh my God.
So that's the most challenging thing where you have to train and like, transition from one climate zone to another and like maintain your thing. And then you have to check on your nutrition and everything and how your body is responding to that changes in the climate and how you're digesting your nutrition and how much power you are putting in. And then like are you able to meet the cutoffs and all of that. It's pretty intense. And I mean, just like until like the Ultraman Florida, I had like I was like coaching myself, like
Hmm.
I didn't have any coach. So last I think 3 months before the race, I had like another one of my friends like who raced Florida with me. He coached me. He gave me some like workout programs, and then but still like they're like racing on Big Island. That fourth or fifth dimension to the race, that
Right.
weather and conditions, changing conditions, was quite challenging. So yeah, it feels like Hawaii has some kind of energy,
Right.
and I experienced it during the race. And like the second day, it was raining, and it felt like I remember like when we were kids, like especially in like villages, like it rains, you go running, and you that like
That smell.
smell and like that freshness, you can feel that in Hawaii. And like it was after many years I started feeling, and like that inner child woke up, and I was the first like 30 miles I was going like probably 22, 23 miles per hour. It's like just like
Nice.
woke up, and then it's like it was beautiful. And third day, I mean, I got like ran like 52 miles, and I had like good crew members. And there's one of my crew members, Stacy. She won Ultraman Worlds on the women's, so she was my crew member. So
Nice.
she paced me. I think I got my best run. It's like finished in 9 hour 12 minutes.
Wow.
So I don't know. It's like how I did it, but it was pretty intense. And even though I was kind of in the middle, like I was giving up, I was like, nah, what am I just need to complete this run. And like I was asking my friends, hey, did you check that volcano? It's like, just you see that like lava flow? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was good. And it's a great experience. Like you have to take permission from Madam Pele. And I had challenges on the first year of Ultraman Worlds because like I started swimming and 2.5 miles into the swim, I started throwing up.
Oh.
I was throwing up and flipping. I had no energy. Whatever I had in the beginning, I threw up everything. And then I started taking a little bit. I had like a beet juice. So I was throwing up. It looked like all red. And my escort kayaker was like freaking out that I was throwing blood. I was like,
Yeah.
so like it took me a while. It took me 5 hour, 15 minutes to finish. And as soon as it came out, I threw up the thing I ate like at 4 a.m.
Ooh.
So I was like swam the entire thing empty, and I couldn't put anything in my body for about another 3 4 hours, and
Mm.
then it was challenging. I was short by 7 miles on day one, but on the fourth day I went and did that so that like I had like my complete like 300 miles.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that was a beautiful experience, and I got lucky and I got into Ultraman World Championships in 18 and also 19. Like so, I did
Wow.
3 times.
Yeah.
So I can still brag that I'm the only Indian to do three Ultraman World Champion 3 times. So
Amazing,
yeah,
amazing, amazing. So now let us get into the ultra running, right? Now for those who are watching this on YouTube, will see you wearing MOAB 240.
yeah.
That's a pretty epic race. Before we get into it, what was your first ultra run?
First ultra run, I would say definitely it's an Ultraman. I did a 52-mile run at the
Right.
end of
Yeah.
swim, bike, and run. But as a standalone one, I did a Zion 100K in 2019.
Hmm.
That was my first ultra run. And after Ultraman Worlds in 1920, I had like a big schedule, and COVID hit. All of them were like, you had to put it aside. So and then I think in 21 things were still getting bad. So I signed up for Keys 100-mile run just 3 4 weeks before the race,
Right.
because at that time we started this campaign to fund buy some oxygen concentrators and send it to India, and then build an oxygen plant at a what's a Kadapa General Hospital.
Right.
In this one area where the General Hospital doesn't have oxygen plant.
Yeah.
So we thought
There
of
was a shortage of
oxygen
oxygen
everywhere.
around that time. It was really bad. Yeah.
So my goal was to get 100 oxygen concentrators by running 100 miles.
Wow.
So that
That's
so we
amazing.
yeah we
Yeah.
got, and I did good. I did sub 24 hours for my first 100 miler.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's a very challenging course in terms, because the heat is anywhere from 95 degrees, and then humidity is 100%. It's in Florida, and it's really puts a toll on your body. Sometimes you're like, it's heat just gets you,
Right.
and then suddenly it starts raining, like pouring crazy. So
Mm.
I had some experienced crew members. They supported me, and I I did that race, and I continued signing up for more.
No, so let us talk a little bit more on your first 100 miler, right?
Mhm.
For first one is always special. There for multiple reasons. There can be a lot of learning. There can be a lot of challenges that you might have overcome. What are some of the learnings from your first ultra, first 160K 100 miler?
100 miler. The first thing is uh, I've done like a 52 milers multiple times, and like did up till 60 miles. It's all the same. But what you learn is the moment you hit 70 mile, everything changes.
Right.
And that's where like the real state race starts.
Mm.
That's what I realized. And like your gut is also tired, and like you're not processing food like the same way, and you're having some chafing issues, and then like you're it's like it rained, and your feet are wet and you're running,
Yeah.
and you're cramping, and you'll have physiological issues, and that's where like the mental game, and looking into yourself to understand what the problem is starts. And then that's where like I started understanding my body, and how I can push, or like push myself beyond the threshold, and then like how I have to patiently go put one step in front of the other. And I got really lucky with some amazing crew member, Boyan Mark. He was my crew, and at mile 80 something, and I think I was like close to is 20 hours, like so still have like about like 10-12 hours. So I have another less than 20 miles to go. I was like, I can take a nap. And I was lying down on the road, at the side of the road, and then I was like, yeah, it's like it's fine. Like, it's almost like, say, it's like 1 or 2 in the morning, two, I think 2-ish in the morning. Then this guy, Boki, comes there, listen, you have to change your strategy.
All right.
If you just change it, you can still do sub 24. What I was doing was there were like telephone poles. So I was running 2, 3 poles and walking one. I was using that strategy. I was like, you have to throw that away.
Mm.
You run, it'll hurt. Run, it'll hurt more. And it'll keep running. It'll hurt and you'll get used to it. Let's go. That's a good point, man. Yeah, it's life, right? Like, it's pain in your, and then like, you'll have pain. People are like painful to you, and then like, you just deal with them. You can't escape from those people, and then like you deal pain, and then you get used to the pain. You can't run away from some people.
Yeah.
So it's like, it makes sense. It's like it reminds me of a lot of things. So I started running, and last half marathon, I think I have a negative split.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like
At the
chasing.
end of a 100 miler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's I think I was looking at like a mile 98, 99. I was like running at 9.5 minute mile pace.
Amazing.
So because like I wanted to
Go
Yes.
sub 24. Yeah.
it's up 24, so I had like 6 minutes to spare.
Nice, nice, amazing. So, 100 miler, what would be your kind of fueling strategy for, something like that?
Fueling strategy, it's basically you have to understand the weather
Hmm.
and how your gut, how you can absorb things, body absorbs. So you have to break it down by a section of 3 hours or something like that, whatever is convenient, which is manageable sections,
Hmm.
and put that 3 hour section, and then look at the weather condition. And then when you do the weather condition and the 3 hour section and the distance and the terrain or whatever, then you will know how much your body can efficiently absorb in that 3 hours in that heat condition, and what pace you have to be, so that like your heart rate is lower, and the blood can circulate between your legs at the same time your gut,
Right.
and you have enough energy to move consistently. So my strategy was like, okay, what I train with multiple products, but mostly I take UCAN. There's like a multidextrin, and sometimes I use some gels when I'm like going low. Uh, Actually, we had an issue that I forgot all my nutrition at the hotel, and then
Wow.
so the first 2-3 hours I told them to go and pick it up, and I took $20 from them, and I was running, and halfway it's like, hey, do you have some water? And I was buying water and something, and then again running from the side of the road. So it's adapting yourself to the challenge, and then thinking through it. Like you have to, this 3 hours, what you're doing is, it's not like fueling for this 3 hours. You're actually fueling for the next 3 hours.
Right.
So you fuel for the next one. So that's how you break it down. And when you are in those sections, you look back and think about your training. Oh, I ran that day on that Saturday from 12 to 3 o'clock, and it was the same weather. So how was I feeling? How should I? So like that memory kicks in, and then you have to connect the dots and keep moving.
Nice, nice. So, what is your next 100 miler, or what is the next ultra?
I have few few hundreds, like so Hurt 100
Hmm.
and Angels Crest 100. It's coming up next year. This year, like I have nothing.
Hmm.
I did like one of my big bucket list race, is BadWater 135, and I attempted Leadville 100. That didn't go well because it's just like few weeks after BadWater 135.
Right.
But still, like I'm happy with my BadWater 135 because I got a sub 40-hour finish, so
Wow.
39 something.
So BadWater, I was just reading Eat and Run, and the
Scott Zurich.
Scott Jurick's book, and he opens with the first chapter. He opens with he lying down, lying at my lady or something like that, down and out, and that was like when I read that book, through the book, that there is a thread about the BadWater. It sounds like an epic race. What was your experience with that?
Oh, BadWater, it's
Goes through Death Valley
Death
and
Valley.
all that.
It's a 135-mile run. It's 217 kilometers. It starts in Badwater Basin in Death Valley, which is 280 feet below sea level. And the temperatures go at 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is close to 50 degrees centigrade.
Wow.
So, and even at nighttime, the temperatures are at like 110, 115. That is about 45 degrees centigrade. So, nighttime, the temperatures are pretty high. And it's dry. Sometimes you'll have like bleeding from your nose, and then you're just completely. And that's a challenge, like where body will shut down in certain ways. So understanding the body and running through the desert in that heat, and a lot of times, like when you're running, uh, your shoes melt because on the
Yeah, man, that is so hot.
yeah. So it is insanely hot. We got really lucky this year because it was only 50 degrees, close to 50.
Only 50 degrees. Yeah.
So the week after that race, it was supposed to go at 130 degrees, and like because it was a historic high, I think it went close to 128, 129. Imagine we had pushed the race was like a week after, we would have been like cooked on the road. So there are like videos where people are like the runners are running, and the crew vehicle is on the side of the road, and they just break an egg on their bonnet, and then like they have their omelet there. So
Crazy. What were the some of the challenging moments in BadWater 135?
yeah, it's like for me the biggest challenge is sleep deprivation, because I train for the heat, but I always have this challenge of sleep deprivation. And after like on the first night, after 12, 1 o'clock at midnight, it's bedtime.
Yeah.
So I have to sleep. So my crew wasn't allowing me to sleep because, like, one of my friends, then he knows like how I sleep.
Yeah.
So if this guy goes to sleep, that's it.
You can't wake him up.
So there's like no resting. So when they gave me some nutrition on the first night, and then when waiting 2 miles down the course, I just like, okay, man, like they'll wait for me for 15, 20 minutes. Then I have a small window to nap. It's like I sneaked in a 5-minute nap, woke up, and then after like, your body starts like, shutting down after mile 20 or
Yeah.
something because of the heat. Like, it's adapting. So I was like, by mile 20, it's like we start like pretty close to the midnight, and the heat is it's dry heat, and
Even through the night.
oh, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
temperatures are above 100 degrees at nighttime, 110
Wow.
sometimes. So it's 40 to 45 for sure. So it's just like a tasking on the body. Only I think from morning 3 to around 7 is a good window.
Right.
Where like it's a nice. So I kind of use
Maybe in
that.
the 40s or high 30s.
Like just 40, and
Yeah.
then, like we use like, oh, we have to run a lot of like these seasoned or like who have done bad water multiple times. They see a 1 2 degree fluctuation, like a lower temperature, they put more effort because like it's an opportunity to cover more miles.
Right.
Anyway, like later you can walk if the temperature goes up. So that's one. The heat is definitely a challenge, and then like the sleep deprivation part of it. And I was on the second night, I was just like I was begging to get like a minute or 2 minute naps, and they were not allowing me. And because like they know it's like, but I was shocked. I convinced my crew. I was like, hey, I'll take a 1 minute nap. I was like, no, they didn't believe me. It's like I actually woke up at 59 seconds.
1 minute nap, is that a thing?
Yeah, it's like 1 minute. I did like 2 minute naps, and like after a few 2 minute naps, and then they'll stop giving us like 1 minute. I was like 59 seconds, like, yeah. And it's like, but the thing is, it's not enough for me. It's like that 1 minute, like it was helping me go like 10, 12, 10, 15 minutes. And again, like my body was shutting down. So after it became like dangerously like situation for me to run,
Yeah.
like a sleep running or sleepwalking, my
Right.
crew decided to give me a small break. So I got a 15-minute nap,
Nice.
and that changed everything. And I kind of started dropping people. Like the last 20 miles, I dropped at least 20 people. Like I was
Wow.
like going up the mountain. So the challenging parts of the terrain, like you're going from the lowest and you have to go to the highest point. It's Mount Whitney is the highest tallest mountain
Right.
in contiguous United States, and the finish line is at the portal, which is at 8,500 feet. So, and you gain, I think, about close to 15,000 or more. I don't no more than that. A lot of elevation gain.
Wow.
So the elevation gain, and then mostly on the pavement. And then the pavement is like kind of slanted a little bit. So
Right.
your body mechanics change, and you'll start like, putting stress on one side of your body more. And running on pavement, like it's more tasking. You feel better running on the trail, 100 miles, than like, on the pavement. Pavement is more
Taxing.
damaging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
those are the things like
So when you are running in the extreme heat like this, right? How what would be the how would your fueling and hydration strategy change?
yeah, definitely. I was checking on my electrolytes, and I was checking how often I'm peeing. Every time I pee, I check what color it is and how much I'm peeing. And it's always you have to keep your core cool. So I was putting a lot of ice. I actually got designed my own top where I have pockets where I can just throw some ice in it.
Ice jacket kind of thing. Yeah.
It's like no, it's not a jacket. Like I got custom made, like where like I know when I was training, like okay, here I have my veins, like so I need like if I put few cubes of ice here, then it'll cool me down, and then like at my neck I need a pocket at the neck, and then like and the shoulders, and then like I had like different pocket. I designed it, yeah. So and that really helped, and like my crew knows like one of my crew members has finished BadWater before, so he knows what it is. And Boki, he came all the way from Serbia to crew me,
Wow.
and he was my first coach for Ultraman Worlds, so he knows me pretty well. So he knows the nutrition I take, like the UCAN and like some of the maltodextrin, and how when my fat metabolism kicks in. So I not only for the distance, like I trained for the nutrition and heat prior to the race. I mean, like I had an injury, so I couldn't run a lot. So I worked on like how I can trigger my fat metabolism. So literally, I fasted for almost 2 months. I
Wow.
was observing, and I was curious about like different religions and their practices of fasting. So I started with Lent. It's like Catholic fasting, and I was like, oh, what do they do? It's like they eat one meal and then like, and I was doing that and then doing my training and running. So my body was like adapting to that, like deficiency in calories, but like, how can the body be very efficient? And then Ramadan came in. I was like, okay, I used to look up to, I mean, especially living in Hyderabad, Ramadan brings Halim. So
Right.
Halim was like very, so yeah, every year I used to wait for Ramadan so that like you get the best Halim.
Right.
So this time is the other way. It's like, okay, it's time for me to actually do. It's like, what exactly this is. I was very curious. So I did that. And the way I used to do is they break fast at like 8 p.m. So I was breaking my fast at 8 p.m., but every religion has a different, protocol. So this one, they don't, Ramadan, you don't drink water or take any calories. So I was like, okay, if you're not drinking any water, you'll be dehydrated. But how much can you run when you're dehydrated? So I was running last 2 hours before breaking fast or taking any liquids for 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours, and that's how I was building my dehydrated endurance.
Right.
So it's like it's a lot of things go into it. So how you prepare for a distance and a challenge like that, and then how you uh, handle it on the course. So those are the two aspects, and having a good crew helped me handle the challenges on the course, and having a good training protocol helps you get ready for those challenges.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, the BadWater Ultra is an amazing experience. That's one of the most epic races, right? But I'm guessing your longest one was MOAB 240.
Yes.
So let us dive into that a bit. What 240 miles?
Yeah, it's 387 kilometers.
That is just insane. So how was the training for it, and how did you end up doing that?
So I did it in 2022, and prior to that, like I was training for 100 milers. So I built it up. I did bunch of races. I Before this Moab 240 was on October 7th, but on March 27th or 8th, I had a major injury of my cervical. So I fell upside down and like I injured my neck.
Wow.
So I couldn't.
How did you fall?
I was doing like a weird workout, like doing this crunches upside down,
Oh,
went pencil down on my head.
yeah.
So that's like lucky I'm still breathing. So that's I'm still walking, and my right hand was numb for almost a month. That impacted my race. Like I signed up for Canyons 100K. I was like 3 weeks after the injury.
Wow.
I did a lot of therapy, and then I signed up like multiple small races, like a 50K, 50 miler, and then like a 100 miler, and it's like a month to like back to back, like every month a race, and I was running at night.
So 100 miler every month or
No,
something?
50, one ultra every month kind of
Right.
thing.
Right.
So there was also a 100 miler in it. And so I was doing those, and it's like a different terrain. Like one was about 10,000 feet, and the other one was in like heat. Like I did Burning Man 50K, which was in like desert. And then I did like PCT 50 miler, which is like it's a technical trail, like it's in the backyard. So when I did the progression, like, and I went and like crewed for people at night time for a 100 miler. So I was like getting those mileage at night mileage. So it's like accumulating and doing things back to back, because 240 miles, 380 some kilometers it's quite tasking. And I mean, I don't know whether I'll be able to do it or not, but it's just it's another challenge. And the whole point in doing these races is to find what's your potential and how far can you push. And when you push, what is that you need and what are you made of. It's like it answers a lot of your questions. So obviously, the curious mind, the curious kid in me is what is making me sign up for all these
Right.
races.
So before we dive into that, let us stay a little bit and talk about that injury and how you were able to deal with it and continue with all these events, right?
Yeah. So it's I first like as after that injury, like for 2 3 weeks I did not, 2 weeks I did nothing, but at the end of second week I didn't run because like my right hand was not like I was having pain because it I had like a injury of some nerves because it's at the cervical.
Yeah.
Nothing broke, so
It
luckily
was like pinch
or something.
nerves or something.
So just like I was educating myself with the entire nervous system. Oh, this is the one, like which is at like it's like C5 or something, C6, and then like okay, that one goes here. That's the reason I'm having a numb on my index finger. Like, oh, okay. So it's then like movement, like when you run, like you still have at your what do you call uh, what's this ball? I forgot.
The uh it's pretty bad at anatomy as it comes like
Oh,
yeah,
scapula.
yeah.
So that region, and then like when I have that motion, then I was having issues. So now I can't run, but I can move my feet. So uh, I was running. I was actually hiking up and down with weights on my ankle and everything. So I was just walking,
Right.
walking. That's how I trained, and I had like physical therapy and like the entire protocol from my doctor, and kind of and I had a lot of chiropractic adjustments and massages to help you know reduce the issue. So
Right.
and then like after that I went for a smaller like a 50 miler rather than like going big. So, and train also like made sure like our body is responding right and like paid attention to how it is dealing with the injury. So yeah, it's a long, it's very individual and like a very specific.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny how you can how a 50 miler can become a smaller race when you are talking about something like a 240-mile run.
Yeah.
So you have kind of built up to it, and with actually pacing other runners for other events and participating in multiple events yourself and stuff like that. So once you got to the Moab start line, how was the feeling?
It's that's an unknown thing.
Yeah.
So, but like I work, it's like I'm an architect and like I'm in construction management. So I build schedules for our construction and all of that. So I build like a proper schedule for my entire race and the pacing. I have like a very detailed spreadsheet, like which is broken down by nutrition, time, and like issues and remedies and all of that. And then I had only one crew member. So,
Wow.
and he's on my pacer too. So he was coming to mile 70 and then like mile 130 to, give what I needed. And, so it's, you have to be very meticulous in like, what you have to put in your drop bag and anticipate like, what will happen to, I mean, it was hard for me to anticipate because I've never done a 240-mile run and never ran like continuously for
Right.
more than a day.
Yeah.
So it's like this one took me 4 days because like on second day I started having issues and it just literally I think I started having too much of sodium. So that became a big issue. So after mile 120, 100, after 100 miles or so, it's like I started getting issues. And I slowed down so much. I was like losing time as I was going, and literally I was walking zigzag. And luckily, I had like a couple of my friends who were my Ultraman Ohana. They agreed to be my virtual crew.
Right.
So luckily, I had this Garmin InReach. there's no cell phone signal in the middle of the mountain. So this is the Garmin InReach. You can message, and it uses satellite. So I started like texting them saying like, this is my condition, what do I do? So they really helped me, like, get through that phase to the next aid station. And then like at the aid station there was a medic, and he told me like what my problem was, and then he told me not to have any salt taps anymore for whatever distance, because the food you take has a lot of sodium, and then you're taking salt, and it's like, that's getting into a dangerous zone. So even that night I hallucinated quite a bit, and I was quite slow. And after second night and third morning, third afternoon, I took a really good 2 hour nap on the trail. And that's when I started like getting better. And literally after that, I I was like fell back so bad that I had to chase the cutoffs. So from there on, I started chasing the cutoffs.
Right.
Yes.
So what, when you have excess sodium in your system, what are the issues that you kind of
For
face?
me,
And yeah,
that it's like it was strange. I was getting tired, and I should have written down all the. So I was, I was going like zigzag,
right.
and nothing was sitting. No calories were sitting in my stomach.
Yeah, that's a dangerous
Yeah.
position to be in
Yeah,
in an
and then
ultra.
I was
Yeah.
very sleepy, very sleepy, and I was doing all kinds of things, putting my feet up and then like trying to take a nap, and I was only able to run 20 minutes, and then I was resting for 10-15 minutes,
Wow.
and it was miserable. Like I was like, other runners were looking, oh, look at this guy. It's like I was going all over the trail like a snake.
Right.
So
So
yeah.
you started, took the advice of medic. What you he and he's advised not to take sodium for a bit,
It's salt tabs.
and salt caps for a bit. So and you felt started feeling better, and you had to start chasing the cutoffs. So how close was it, and how did it go from there?
Chasing cutoffs, like, after like I think third day, I was like I had like a initially buffer for like few hours to the cutoff, and I was at every aid station. I was like taking my stuff, but I think the challenging cutoff was mile 200, because I barely made it like with half an hour or an hour to spare.
Right.
And it was like, it was cold, and it's a lot of technical trail. That's where I saw a lot of my friends like were running. A lot of them dropped there. Like, they couldn't make that cutoff. But I think that's where I got my second win. And I was running. I was not like even not hiking up
Right.
at that time. And I don't know, for strange reasons, I get my second win at the last 10-20% of the race. So I remember like, I made that cutoff, but like again, like from mile 200 to 220, I thought I'll get the momentum, but that night I was, bless you. Yeah, that night, the temperatures were like really low. And by the, I think probably like 10, no, it's like almost like went up to 0 degrees centigrade. And in the morning, you're at like, say, almost 30-32 degrees. So that's a huge drastic shift. And yeah, your body is kind of like depleted of everything, and you have to handle that. So from mile 210, I started like losing it until mile 220. I had to stop and take a rest. And my friend, he said, you know, he paced me the last 20, last 30, 40 miles. So he said, you always trying to chase the cutoff because you're looking for your buffer, and you're
Right.
staying comfortable. Is that your potential in running? Like, why are you doing this? Like, when he's through those questions, then that's when everything switched. And again, The last half marathon, I had a negative split.
Right.
So
So you can have, you put your project management plan and everything in place, but the trail can throw a lot of everything out of the window,
oh yeah,
right? And ultras are all about problem solving, I guess, in
exactly.
that way, right? So how well and how good you are at problem solving, the one after the other, one after the other. So excessive sodium was one of the things, but how was the what were the challenges other than that you faced in this MOAB?
Sleep deprivation for sure. That is there, and sleep deprivation was one big thing. And I was, I think the second night or third night, I was just like running and asleep on the trail, and then get up and then run. One time, like I started going the opposite direction. Likely the runners, they said like, no, no, this way. It's like okay, and then I turned around. So,
Hallucinations and all that.
so
Yeah.
many things, and your foot doesn't sit in.
Hmm.
Sometimes like you get the wet wipes to clean yourself, and you sometimes you don't even see those are Clorox wipes, and then you start burning.
Wow.
So those kind of challenges are
Yeah.
there. So
So that is pretty epic to complete something like a Moab 240, right? And after that was the BadWater
yeah.
135, and you know after not soon after BadWater, you decided to do Leadville 100 mile, and Leadville is notoriously difficult. What was the thinking between to go for it so close to the event?
I just wanted to test my like endurance because this is like the lowest point, and that's literally about 10,000 feet. So here, the heat like breaks you down. There, like oxygen deprivation breaks you down because I think you're basically running at 13, 14% oxygen, whereas here you're at 21% oxygen, but still like heat. So, uh, I mean, my body didn't recover like that well after bad water one that if
You
that's
had like 6 weeks or something. How
yeah,
much was that?
5 weeks, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what I did was immediately after bad water, I think I took like 6 days break,
Right.
and then I went to Leadville and stayed there
Hmm.
rather than like going and like did some casual hikes at that elevation, so that like my body starts adapting to the altitude. So
Right.
that's the whole thing. But Leadville is something like where you have to run really fast for the first 60 miles.
Mm.
Like first 40 miles, you have to run really fast, and then like hike next 20 miles really fast without any issues.
Right.
That's the big thing. It's not just doing that without any issues. So
Mhm.
I mean, it's the most one of the most challenging races, Leadville 100.
Right. So you, what were the challenges you faced before you decided that, you cannot continue?
Yeah, it's because like I was running and my I didn't have any speed in my legs.
Mm.
I think like I look at my pictures, like I lost a lot of muscle mass, like in my quads, and I could like physically see it when I check the pictures. I was running, but like it's just like your brain is saying you're running fast, but like your watch is not saying showing the same.
Right. Right.
So it's like I don't know. That's one, and then start throwing up, and I'd never throw up during run. Like at once I went up Pope Pass, it's 12,000 feet. That's when like my gut kind of shut down and
Mm.
started throwing up, and that just freaked me out because uh, you cannot injure yourself. This is not the end of your race career.
Right.
You have to respect your body, and that's when, like, uh, could have pushed, but like I just no, I have to respect my body for
Right.
what it let me do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a fine line, right?
yeah,
Between you know, it's a difficult call to take when to pull the plug
yes,
and when to keep going,
yeah.
right? So what are the things that you consider while making decisions like that?
So the best way is like we were talking about, oh, you're good at problem solving. I would say rather than problem solving, to actually understanding the problem is the most important thing. Like if you understand incorrectly, your solution will be incorrect.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like that's where you have to focus on. And like when you are like going through things, uh, if you don't understand the problem, then you can make the call. So it's I think that's the important thing. Okay, so
You-
once you understand the body, what it is going through, and what is the real problem, is it mental? No, it is physiological, and like a lot of like issues are going on, and like different departments are shutting down. They're going on strike, so you can't push the like you have like 1,000 employees and like 5 departments like shut down. You can't tell like the next 5 departments like to do overtime. Even if they do overtime, you can only go so much. So you will, and then it costs so much money, and then like you do all that calculation. That's like, you'll go bankrupt. So,
Right.
or it's like you'll get into injure somebody, and then like they'll sue you, and then done.
Yeah.
So it's like it's your body's like a
Asking the correct questions to
yeah,
get the correct answers.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, you also you have to kind of recognize, because like you're saying, right, the body is letting you do these things,
yes,
and it is a privilege that it is letting you do that, and you got to respect that,
yeah,
right? And you have to give enough time for it to recover, rejuvenate, and get back at that, right? And this year, I think Courtney Dauwalter did
oh, she's a phenomenal
that,
athlete. She just like she's definitely. I mean, like she inspires me a lot, and it's you have
yeah.
to keep that smile. And that's what like I always keep my smile. If you're not smiling, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I mean these things. It's pretty amazing what she has done
Yeah,
to kind of three back-to-back
100 miles.
100 milers and winning, and
Breaking the course
breaking the course records and all that. It's crazy,
she's
right?
phenomenal, and she lives in Leadville, which is like 10,000 feet, and she's always breathing 14% oxygen. Good red blood cells, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it also like she's very good technically and technical trials, and I don't know how she has a different kind of training
Yeah.
protocol.
I mean, I was watching the UTMB live feed. It's like watching her race. That was like mind blowing. And Jim Wamsley
Oh,
won the,
right.
became the first US
American.
American man to win it.
Yeah.
And the way he talked about at the end, when it was asked, he was posed this question: how does it feel to be first American to win it? He corrected
Yeah.
and said, I'm just following on many American women who have actually, set the path blazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So this trail running community, comes across as really close knit communities, right? So how, what are your learnings from the the years in ultra triathlon and ultra trail running?
It's it it taught me a lot of things, and then what I would say, uh, embracing the present situation, and then being one with the nature, and then like communicating with the nature, and respecting the nature is what I really learned during these endurance events. And also Ultraman, it's based out of three principles: aloha, ohana, and kokua. Aloha means love; it's unconditional love which you give between individuals, anything. So, and that's what I've learned. And ohana means family. It's not just like, your own like blood relation. It's what you call family. It's like a family is like we are an athlete family.
Right.
And then you see a mango tree, it's like you are like, we are a different kind of family bonding
Right.
with the mango tree, or like in nature, or the rocks, or the like, everything. It's like what say Vasudhaika Kutumbam.
Correct.
So it's like, that's ohana. And kokua is work incessantly and never expect anything in return, like, what we read in Bhagavad Gita. So, and a lot of I give back and I receive a lot of help, and it's very unconditional. So, and that's what makes this human life and then like, society a greater, by having this that unconditional help and support system between each other. So right now, these days, that's lost. I mean, it's not lost, but it is not significant. It is losing it. So by doing these races, like this Ultraman community or ultra running community, they really follow this. Like they are like Ohanas, like a family, and then they show that kukua, unconditional help. And when you see, it's very contagious.
Right.
That kind of actions are very contagious, because you're in the middle of nowhere, and then uh, you have to help, and then you will be receiving help. So it's one of those, like, it makes you that's what sets you apart from the crowd. And it's your lifestyle. The ultra lifestyle sets you apart from the crowd. And then when you go into the crowd, you're not normally like, you do your thing, and people will be like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you become a messenger into the world with these principles. So that's what like I gained from doing this
Right.
ultra events.
Yeah. So you have been doing all these while, working full
Yeah.
time and stuff, right? So what are the things that you keep in mind to kind of manage both side of things?
Yeah, it's a proper scheduling and planning, and you should know your limits, and you should actually assign your resources properly. And it's like a time management. What you plan on doing, like, you need to have your workout, and at the same time, like, you need to check like what your week's work is, and then like how you can divide your work. And at the same time, when you divide your work and your workouts, you have to also think about like, where is my body, how much energy will be depleted by Friday, and then what is that like I'm putting into my body, is that clean food? So and then like what kind of recovery I'm doing. So you have to schedule all those things into your week.
Right.
You can't just like say, I'm going to work, I have 20 hours of workout this week, or like 30 hours, I'm going to whatever, I'll do it. No. If you are not like spreading it properly, then you'll pay it later.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So what next on your calendar for you?
Me, I don't know. It's like actually, I came to India a couple of days ago just to take care of some personal things, and also see an opportunity how I can give back to this ultra endurance world, which is like budding in India. And there are like amazing athletes who have done amazing things from India. So it's being like, you can say first, like the beginning of this era, ultra endurance sports in India. it becomes you have to give it back, or like set some kind of a foundation or something, so that people are not like just like going blindly and then you know getting trained or like getting injured and then just stop.
Right.
Yeah, it has to be a lifestyle that you take it all the way till the end of your life.
Mm.
So I'm trying to see avenues how I can establish that through my coaching and everything. And that's what I'm trying to see right now. That's one. And the other things are like, looking at races. Like, I think I need to balance life. So, how I can do, I'm shifting the dynamics, like, how much I'll raise and how much I'll put on my profession and personal life.
Right.
So earlier it was different. So now, when you grow older, going into, so you have to move those dynamics.
Mm.
And that's what I'm actually working on right now.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
All the very best for
Yeah.
that. I'm sure a lot of people can benefit from your experience in the ultra world, and take advantage of your experience and
Yeah.
your guidance there. All the very best for whatever lies ahead. I hope to catch up with you soon again.
Thank you, Venki. Thank you for this opportunity. And it's a good conversation. And I hope like, people get few tips from what we talked, like from my experience. Yeah, I'm out there running here and there. If somebody needs some kind of guidance, they can reach out.
Awesome, awesome. We will put links to your socials in the show notes so that
Okay.
people can reach out to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was my conversation with Manmadh. I hope you enjoyed that. If you are enjoying these podcasts and are finding them useful, please consider supporting the podcast by subscribing to it on YouTube as well as on your favorite podcasting app. It really helps. Thanks again for your continuous support. See you next week with another guest.